Drake, we bag jacking bitches. What we doing, Drake? We bag jacking bitches. We'll take your whole bag of candy, leave you in the cold. So bring the ruckus if you're under 12 years old.
How's it going, guys? It is October and the month of which everyone watches either horror films or goofy comedies. Well, I am not one of them as of late, and let me tell you why. When I was younger, I wasn't the biggest fan of scary stuff growing up, but I still enjoyed it here and there. At some point, however, the interest in them kinda dulled out. There were a few years where I hardly watched any horror movies at all, until I got Netflix in 2011, and a big portion of available films were horror. I watched dozens and dozens of them, like Breathing Room, The Chair, ABC Killer, The Cell 2, The Cook, and a bunch of other low-budget horror films. My palate became tired and bored of them, and that has been the case all the way until now. Any of these new ones just don't seem worth my time. Over the last couple of years, It was the only one that I saw. It wasn't a terrible film, it was more entertaining than the old version, but it had so many pathetic jump scares and the music playing overly loud all the time. It really probably would have been better with a lot more quiet scenes. Check out my really old review of it. It was as if they did the opposite of a Hitchcock by showing the monster any chance they get. But more on the topic, the horror tropes were just annoying to me. And if we take a look at the film series like Halloween, Friday the 13th, and Nightmare on Elm Street, there is a constant issue. The obvious problem is how many dang sequels they have. It makes it harder to figure out which movie is what and what happens where. The amount of spin-offs make the whole concept seem less important every time. And the slashers tend to be invincible and make less and less sense. Horror films just become a game of who is going to die next and by what means and who's going to last the longest and how can they kill him. Michael, to me, is one of the lamest characters. How I see it is these slashers are supposed to scare the shit out of you. With him, he has a bad childhood and is evil and therefore invincible, and he just kind of walks around with a knife? Okay, cool. If he were evil, you'd think he could do a little better, don't you? I don't know. I never got too invested into the Halloween series, so maybe I'm speaking out of turn, but I don't care. That's my impression of it right now. I don't like the others much better, but at least the concept of Freddy is scary as fuck. He infiltrates your dreams, a place where you are unconscious and defenseless. That is creepy. Though Jason is also lame, at least it is kind of freaky to think you're going camping with buddies and then some big dude is after you with a machete. And don't worry, I know that part of the point is to turn off your brain and enjoy watching idiots get killed. But one of my main issues is that there are no characters that come to mind in a slasher film that is a protagonist. No one. At all. And that could be on me for not being as invested, but still. Every character in a slasher film is hateable. I almost want a movie where there is a somewhat interesting plot with somewhat interesting characters, and then someone is trying to kill them, whether or not they have mystical abilities. That way I could sorta be sad when certain characters die. I don't know, just watching people get hacked left and right just isn't fun to me. But there is one more element that affects my overall enjoyment of horror, and that is death. From 2012 to 2014, I was really struggling with the concept. Most of the films or shows I watched had people getting killed constantly, and I watched so many space documentaries that the concept of what happens after death was freaking me out. Based on what I was learning, it gave me extreme doubts that there is an afterlife. The idea of my consciousness never returning, to never think a thought ever again, is nerve-wracking. It makes me wish I believed in ghosts and God and heaven and hell and whatnot. But those concepts seem unlikely. I fell into a depression of hopelessness. I was able to do things, but it lacked any meaning and motivation. My beliefs were challenged for the first time when my cat Charizard, that I have had ever since I was 3 or 4 years old, as far as I know, has always existed with me, been my pal, basically my little bro, and always there when I get home, was suddenly out of nowhere in pain and slowly dying. He hardly ate and could hardly hold still, starting to suffer. So I thought we could just get him healed up at the vet. But no, they said, well, you'd have to not let him outside and give him medicine twice a day every day to keep him going. The thought of that crushed me. He has lived such a good life. He had a happy life. I did not want him to suffer day after day, constantly worried about when he might die, knowing he's not enjoying life. It was either end his life now so that he can die knowing he had a good life, or live a while longer and suffer until he eventually dies. The concept of, is this the end of him forever? Will Charzy be scared? Will he ever have a thought ever again? Or will he be alone in some type of afterlife without us? Mind you, I had to consider all this the day that we took him to get checked up. My mom didn't want to make the final decision. She knew that I had to. He was really my cat, and we had a closer bond. So, with weighing all that, I decided that we had to put him down. I was so distraught and confused, I couldn't bear to see him die. I filled the car with tears as my mom went in to be with him when he died. On the way home, we thought we should never have another pet again. But as soon as we got home and we were not greeted by a cute fluff ball, we felt empty. The house was way too quiet. We need an animal in the house. So now we have our little Chikorita, or Chica for short. Anyway, since then it took a while to get past it, but at some point I did. He was the closest living thing to me that I ever lost. I think that having Chica around helped, not in terms of replacement, but in missing something that I loved and allowing to connect with something else. Back to the horror films, though. I just don't always like seeing movies where we just hope that certain people are going to die. My interest in film has vastly grown. I just want a little more substance with my horror now. Monster films are a great example. They're essentially the same thing where people get killed by something, but in like Tremors or Jaws or other monster flicks, the main characters are usually likable enough, or the corniness that they have leaves a more charming taste. Though some people may say that they feel that with other horror films, but I rarely do. A franchise that could apply horror that I would possibly like more would be The Dark Universe. The Mummy had way too many attempts at lame comedy and felt safe. If it was slightly scary, I might have enjoyed it just a little more. Who knows? To finish this off, I'll say I don't outright hate horror. I could see myself watching with friends to at least get their reactions. These days, I'm actually okay with deaths in film because sometimes those are a great motivator for emotions and give people something to do, a reason to do something, so they play a vital role many times. But for specific horror and slasher films, I'll likely be more into them later on, just not really right now. Tell me your thoughts in the comments, or if you have any suggestions that you think I'll like. And have a good one, guys. If you liked the video, please leave a like, or if you hate it, click dislike. Also, share the video with your friends and enemies, subscribe to follow this channel, and hit that bell down below to be notified when I upload.